Hey, good morning. Uh, thank you first of all to the Mountain Plains Minority Supply Development Council for asking us to participate in this. Stan and Belinda, you guys are wonderful advocates. The team there, we do a wonderful job. Certainly, transitioning in a pandemic and pivoting, if you will, is certainly key and something that we're glad to share a bit of our story on. Uh, could we go on to the next slide? Our company is headquartered in Columbia, South Carolina. We've been around now. We're in our 21st year of operations. We're highly leveraged in plant equipment, and we've got locations in Alabama, Mexico City, as well as Florence, New Jersey. But our headquarters location is in Columbia, South Carolina, where we uh, produce paper, copy paper, packaging, engineering bond, writing pads, a whole host of other different products. Next slide. Our company is built on two legs. We have a paper converting operation where we'll do all of our cutting at our plants, and then we have our sales and marketing. Next slide. What you're looking at here is an aerial view of our largest plant in Maplesville, Alabama. Maplesville is just geographically in the center of the state, and the location itself is equidistant from a lot of the large paper mills that are our customers and our suppliers. This particular location last year, quite honestly, had an explosion, which compounded a lot of issues for us. Fortunately, we survived that, managed through that, and then ultimately remained competitive with supplying paper products to all of our customers. Next slide. Sales and marketing is our group. What you're looking at here, this is on the right is one of our owners, President Ken Lloyd, and Darrell Dixon, who serves as one of the vice presidents here. Next slide. The products themselves, it's standard copy paper. So, what we're looking at is in terms of our actual production. We sell copy paper. The sales model is on a tier 2 basis where we'll sell our products through distribution, or we don't necessarily sell direct. So if we wanted to sell direct, it would actually be a different segment of our model. But well over 95% of our business in terms of selling our products is through a tier 2 solution where we'll sell our products either through Staples or Office Depot or other independent dealers, office products dealers. Next slide. Our product portfolio is built around engineering bond. Engineering bond are narrow width rolls that are used in plotter paper, where if you have plans for a home and you've seen these large sheets of paper that blueprints are printed on, that's what engineering bond is. Corrugated packaging is a growing segment of our business, and we do supply corrugated packaging around the country. Dye sublimation paper is a unique product that's used to transfer images onto T-shirts or other types of clothing. That particular paper is in high demand right now. Business papers are copy papers. That's how we look post-COVID from a production standpoint. Next slide. So here's kind of where we are, what we were faced with in April of 2020. Our business went to HE double toothpicks. We had no orders. Our order book shut down through March. We were fine. Our normal orders had come in. We were down, but in April we were slashed by 50%, and it just kept going for the remainder of the year. So we really had to do something quick, similar to what you've heard from some of the other MBEs already. No playbook for a pandemic. So you look around, but there is no playbook for this. massive uncertainty in all areas. We really hadn't gone through anything like that since the crash back in 08, 09, where things really had really come to a stop. So we were really in a position where we had to look at every single part of our business, and we knew that critical business decisions had to be made and had to be made very quickly. The interesting thing about this one, unlike the crash, was you literally had a health crisis packaged in an economic crisis. And that for us, we're having to put in health protocols. We're having to be mindful of our own personal health. So this really was a challenging time, obviously. Next slide. We decided on basically four specific business areas that we were going to have to lock down on. A financial plan to survive, plant and production, go through and look at every facet of our business, where we could get skinny, if you will, where we could become more efficient. In addition to that, our products. We're selling paper, and everyone on this call has used more paper than their children and grandchildren are going to use in their entire lifetimes already. So you're talking about a product that's less in demand now than it will. If the most demand we want to have ever right now is today, because tomorrow it's going to be less. So we had to really look at every facet of our business, how we do what we do, why we do it. Customers and relationships. Yeah, we had customers, they're partners, and we have supply relationships. We had to lean on those. So we wanted to see exactly what that plan would be as we looked at our business model, financial, production, the products we sell, and then lean on those relationships. Next slide. Go back one. The really critical part of 2020 boiled down to a number of decisions that had to be made very, very quickly. And you hate to say it, but you almost had to be, your head was always on a swivel, emotionless, but yet it's emotional. Some of the decisions that we had to make were filled with emotion. From a financial and accounting priority standpoint, the most fortunate thing I think that happened with us around this was that obviously there were some decisions made at the federal government level that put us in a better position to ride this out. So fortunately, coming out of 2019 and the first quarter of 2020, we were at a point where we were doing our financial audit. And so all of our numbers we were just literally getting all of our numbers together. So we were really fortunate about that. So we were in a position where we could take advantage of a lot of those financial incentives that were coming out for the businesses at the time. Production realignment. We were closing a plant in Atlanta, had plans to close a plant in Atlanta and take that equipment and shift it over to another location. We accelerated that. We were able to take those plant and equipment, phase that out, lower those costs, shift that over to another plant, and still maintain those efficiencies. But we had to look at all of the products that we were producing. Was it as efficient as possible? Where could we trim the sales a bit, accelerate some other things that were maybe cost efficient? We really had to look at things from a very, very granular level. And it's not easy. And that's why we encourage anyone that's on this call that there really can't be any sacred icons, if you will, when you're going through a pandemic like this. Even still today, we have to look at this. From a product sales standpoint, the products that we're selling, were they relevant? Could we repackage them a different way to make them more appealing? What products were we selling? What did we need to sell? What did customers want? We're kind of in a smokestack industry, if you will. Paper producing, paper manufacturers, and we're converting those papers into copy paper packaged up for corporate America or anyone that's looking to use it. We really had to look at everything that we did and how we did it to really determine whether or not we had products that were literally going to survive. Our customers, yeah, we dealt with large customers in terms of distribution, Staples and Office Depot, and the likes, and we had to kind of really evaluate how we were working with them, our sales relationships certainly, and really get closer to them as much as we could during this time. Supplier evaluations, just the same. There were suppliers that we had that consolidated on us, that were products that were being produced. They weren't being produced now by the end of the year, because the thing about the pandemic was it affected every strata of company. I know we talked about class levels within MBEs, but it doesn't matter if you're class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. You know, corporate America, they certainly had to deal with what they had to deal with, and it affected us. Technology upgrades, you know, we didn't know what a Zoom call was when this thing first started. Between Google Meets, you know, Zoom calls, we had Skype certainly, but yeah, we had to look at our website. We had to look at how we dealt with social media. So we had a social media consultant come in, talk to us a little bit about presence there, and reconfiguring the way we portrayed ourselves, and also getting more into these type upgrades that looked at how do we reposition our products from a technological standpoint, social media, on our website, and what have you. All of those things are still in process. Salaries and personnel, that area, you know, and I think I heard one of the other MDs, Sunil, say this earlier. We just had to make sure we were communicating. We dealt with everything from unemployment to pay cuts to layoffs and what have you. And that probably was one of the most difficult things that certainly we had to deal with, because we had to say goodbye to friends. And when you talk about saying goodbye, from a small company standpoint, we're in a situation where we know everyone, and that part of it certainly was interesting. But to see where we look at what we look like today, we're on dental trays. We produce dental trays. We still produce our business papers, but we produce in much smaller packaging now, similar to 3-ream, 5-ream, 200 sheet packs that are more small, that are competitive for the small office, home office. And we still do folio and digital print, but it's at a higher percentage. We no longer produce our dye sublimation papers at the plant. What we did was we reconfigured our relationship with our supplier, had them do some things on their end, and now we just sell that directly to the customer without even touching it. So we're able to retire a lot of that equipment, similar to what we did on engineering bond as well. So post-COVID, we're a much leaner organization than we were prior to. Next slide. Much broader sales product line. So now we're into all sorts of different things. We're still negotiating our indoor signage agreement. We're still negotiating our digital packaging line, in addition to our corrugated packaging. Small pack products are a larger percentage of our business. We do note-taking products now, similar to sticky notes and those types of things. And we also do engineering bond-wide formats. So you'll see that breadth of product line is much broader now. Next slide. The pivot points, the takeaways, if you will, financial fitness. That is a survival key. Know where your money is. Know where your money is. Just know where your money is, and know where you can make some definite financial moves. Relationships are key. I've got to tell you, when it came down to just from a subscription standpoint, I think Belinda made mention of it, and Brittany, that we're subscription services. We do business all across the country, and we try to participate in as many markets as we possibly can. We had to make serious decisions on whether or not we would even recertify with those different minority supplier groups around the country. We elected to continue our relationship with the Mountain Plains division. Supplier Development Council. But those financial decisions were all in play. Product evaluation, as I can tell you, we're now in different products. We challenged ourselves to not be the old dogs that can't learn new tricks. And I think the one takeaway that we learned from this is you got to ask for something. When you're down and your product is good and you're prepared and you know you're good, I'm not saying do it when you're not prepared, but ask for something. Knock on someone's door. Look for a relationship with the supplier development councils. Lean on them to get you an introduction, but ask for something. That is something that we took away from this whole last year or so, and that we'd encourage everyone to really look at. Thank you.